Hello everybody, Всем привет. Today I want to start with the new day logic animation. So up until this point I haven't basically made it so that you can hit the new day and all the stuff that happens here. Let me this will make it take a little longer. I did the 101495 to show the whole map and we can see where everybody's at. Sounds a little funny there, but anyway, so let's do that again. You notice that in the lower right corner, it swaps between each team. The hourglass animates, and then it switches back to the day thing, the day view of this mini hero summary for about 5 seconds. Let's do it again. So each time we do this, the computer does whatever it's doing. It just picked up a Fizban's misfortune, which isn't... I guess I'm playing against an... Oh, no, it didn't pick up. It knew not to pick that up. What I want to show you, though, is day 1 of the second week. So, okay, it's the week of the gargoyle. Gargoyle growth plus 5. Sure, whatever. But you'll notice that this is now a moon photo because it's a new week. So it shows like the phase of the moon. Now, this is the functionality that I want to replicate. I also want to replicate this where we started out with 7,500 gold. I didn't do anything to increase that, but we got 1,000 gold per day in our treasury. And with with the new day, every mine, every artifact that you own, every castle, every town generates new resources or gold for your kingdom. And if you visit the windmill twice, he's like, I don't have any more. Try again next week. Same with the water wheel. If we went and picked up the peasants up here at the house, there would be some peasants there, and then there wouldn't be any there for a week. So like, there's nobody here. So that changes after the end of the week. So there's some weekly events. There's some daily events. The main thing is your movement points reset every day. So Croto didn't have well. Now he's back to full movement points. So yeah, so this is like the expected behavior of the game. And where we are currently at in our build of the game is we hit this button and nothing happens. We can check out the kingdom view. We can pick up some treasure and it appears in our, so things are getting incremented, but nothing's really happening there. So we got our gems showing up. So we click down here, we can see this, but we have no way to roll. This game is sort of permanently stuck on day 1. And I am able to move my hero around just because I haven't implemented the logic to prevent the hero from running around when they're out of movement points. So that's what I wanted to fix. And so to do that, I made a couple of notes to the game. I took a picture of the week of the eagle. I ran through the game a couple times until I got the month of the plague. This is well, I can show you that in a second. But basically, I gave it a bunch of my existing code, and I wrote up a nice spec here that I'll explain in a second. And And then I looked through some of these images. So I want to show you the images. These are the new day images. This image normally shows at the top of the calendar screen down in the mini hero summary. And then you have the 4 phases of the moon. So each week of the month has a different phase of the moon, which I think is just so brilliant that they did that. There's such a great art director behind this. The only exception is the first day of the game just shows this screen. So that's what's going on the top of that day screen. That only changes basically during the first day of a new week. When we clicked, if you remember, we click the new day and it then cycles through the opponent's turns. These sprites are located in the BR crest. So depending on which color you are, I think maybe we were red, and so it cycled through blue, green, yellow, or maybe we were blue and it cycled through the others. I don't remember, but basically these, if we look at the spec, you can see that these are 50 by 47. And then this border is 58 by 55. So this border is basically 4 pixels on each side, just to kind of an enhancement on that. And if we look, so the hourglass, this is kind of an interesting sprite. So this is the frame of the hourglass, and then this is where that crest, where this BR crest is going to go. So that's the border is going to be placed there, and then we're going to have this sort of a crest or a flag or a sigil of each team is going to scale in there. But the hourglass also has all of this animation. So like look at all these frames of animation. You can kind of see it as I cycle through it. You can see there's some sort of animation going on here. So what I've tried to figure out here is, how does this animation work? Well, I'm sure that it's overlaid over this hourglass image. And it starts 1, 2, 3, 4. You can kind of see that it would slowly change. This is like little grains of sand that, like, a few fall in the beginning, then a few more fall. And so there's basically 10 frames of this, 10 frames of this, and 10 frames of this. And I I basically guessed that the first animation frame is 1, then 11, then 21, then 2, then 12, then 22, 3, 13, 23. And I was thinking this based on the sounds, because if you remember the sound files, let me just pull up my notes on the sound effects. In the sound effects, we had, let's see, it was, yeah, so the hero movement sounds, they had this 0, 1, 2. So they had these kinds of frames like this. And so I think they might have done something like that. And I could be wrong. But I just thought this was worth guessing, that this image is overlaid first, then a few grains of sand fall, then more grains of sand fall lower. So it's sort of this where nothing's falling, then this happens, then this happens. Then it switches to the next frame, and then this happens. And so this creates this illusion of the hourglass slowly filling from top to bottom. And so let's see, I think I explained that. Okay, it's all the way down here. Let me go over this this actual prompt. So first of all, with the new day logic, a hero is they can only move until their movement points are spent. Currently, this route H and game main are allowing the hero to move. Case 3 of the adventure button is the hourglass button, and this triggers a new day setting. I guess maybe I should call it an event or a cycle or something in the game. This adds 1 day to the game counter. For the purposes of the game, there are 7 days in a week and 4 weeks in a month, so 28 days per month. The weeks and months need to accrue correctly as the day is incremented, but the day will always be between 1 through 7, at which point it becomes month 1, week 2, day 1 after the first 7-day cycle. For each player, both human player and computer opponents, all heroes get their movement points restored to the current maximum value for that hero based on troop type, current terrain, hero class, artifacts held, lighthouse owned, etc. I go through the gold income. So it's 1,000 for castle, 250 for a town, 1,000 for a dragon city, 1,000 for a gold mine, 1,000 for the endless sack of gold, 750 for the endless bag of gold, and 500 for the endless purse of gold. So if any of the heroes in their arm, or any of the heroes in that are controlled by that player, have those artifacts in their possession, that will tally to their daily gold haul. Each mine produces 2 units of wood or ore for the sawmills and ore mines, and a unit of other special resources for each mine that they control. All creatures grow and refill the creatures available to recruit for the army. And once a month, actually, I think that should be once a week. Oops. Well, once a week, this creature type is selected from the set of faction creatures that are not neutral. There's never a week of the rogue, as far as I can remember. If you've seen that, let me know in the comments. But I'm pretty sure it's just the regular standard creatures from each faction. And then there are additional creatures that are neutral. Squirrel, aardvark, eagle, hedgehog. I think those are the ones I remember. I might be wrong. I know it's squirrel and eagle for sure. And I think I remember aardvark and hedgehog. And I'm just guessing about the percentages. I think it's like a 40% chance that it's going to be one of those. It could be like even weeks and odd weeks. I'm not sure. There's a 10% chance of the week of the plague, or maybe it's the month of the plague. I think if you look at this, it actually says the month of the plague. So I need to double check the actual odds and statistics of this, but I just want to get something in place that I can correct later as I determine the actual statistical probabilities of this. And then, so I said 40% chance of like a neutral, boring creature, 10% chance of a plague, and 50% chance of another creature being selected. And the new week announcement is an event and shown in the event box pop-up with astrologers proclaimed this week to be the week of the creature name, and all dwellings increase in population. Or in the case of the plague, it's the week of the plague, all populations are halved. And if it's the month of that creature, the castle growth for that creature doubles. If it's just a week of that creature, the creature growth is +5. We may have to stub out the creature growth logic for now because we don't really have the castle structures configured yet. And we can't adjust the population of the creatures in the castle yet. So that's a to-do. And that's actually probably one of the next things I'm going to work on is building out the castle structure and then recruiting creatures. That's basically next up on my to-do list. But we got to get this going so we can print the money to buy the structures, to buy the creatures, etc. We got to be able to cycle the days so that we can have the resources to buy, and also just to verify that like the purchasing of structures and purchasing of creatures is being debited correctly from the castle, from the kingdom treasury. So these are some events too that have this weekly cycle, I guess, like the creatures appear in some of the recruiting structures. The water wheel and the windmill, you can only visit them once a week to get some resources. So I just put a couple of those in. I mean, I probably should have added in the nomad tent here as well. I think the genies are always fixed. I don't think the genies would change, so that doesn't matter. But for the nomad, I probably should have included that. But anyway, so we have to factor in these weekly reset structures, events, resource grabs, whatever you want to call them. And then I start talking about the animation screen here, which I had started talking about earlier. So again, except for week 1, day 1, which shows this sun moon 0000, the first day shows the image of the moon, the first day of a new week. And those images are 1 through 4, and the week value is just used to select the moon image that's overlaid. For days 2 to 7, it just uses this 000 sunrise over the bar mini summary. On the bottom 2/3 of that mini summary, there's an enemy movement timer, and it has this base frame overlay with the hourglass on the right. Now this is actually an error because this is not in the bottom 2/3 of the mini summary. It's the sun moon image actually disappears during this during the opponent's turn. So it's really just the hourglass. It's really just this cycling through with the different crests. So that's what's actually happening there. This is a mistake on my part. And then I looked at the hourglass with the base frame, and I initially suggested that it was just these 10 frames. And I thought that these were maybe like blank frames because they didn't look like much. And later on, I realized, oh, those are probably also animation frames. But initially I thought it was just 10. So in this prompt, I made it just 10. And the left box is filled with the banner of the opponent's team that's moving, taking their turn, and it cycles through the enemy banners one after the other. I've included the spec for you to look at. And then while this takes place, we're playing this music, Heroes 49.82M. And that's like the opponent turn music. The viewport snaps to being centered on the first hero location when the new day cycling is completed. And we also need to compute the treasury, reset the hero movement, animate the mini summary screen, and play music while the opponents take their turns. We may want to stub out a function for the opponents to take their turns and note the color of each opponent. They each get a turn, so this should just cycle through them, but it should show the correct color crest for the opponent when their stub is called. So it goes through, takes a shot at it. I don't like, I mean, just as I was reading through it, I was like, I don't really like how it's doing this movement points thing. So I decided just to abandon the block movements points, like where basically the prevention of the hero from moving at the end of the turn. I just don't like the way the AI is approaching that, and I didn't specify it clear enough. And I still have some routing issues a little bit, so I think that's going to be like a bigger issue to deal with later on. That may be a different debugging thread for me to go down. But anyway, the new day logic gets thrown in. It's the full design. So we're going to advance the counters, compute the treasury income, reset the hero movement points, reset the weekly event visit counts for all these different structures, announce the new creature type, creature growth, animate this mini panel with the hourglass and crest banners and things like that, play the sound and restore the terrain music after, and then snap the viewport to the first hero after rollover completes. So that sounds kind of complicated. It is, but it's creating a new day file, new day H and CPP for this. So it throws all of this in, advance the day, compute daily income, select creature, begin new day animation, etc. Make some changes to the game main. The main thing is this enacts the button, that adventure button, the first button in the second row, which is the hourglass column. That is what is going to be here. Let me just show you. So this one that is currently not working, this button here. So that's what this this logic looks like, that picks up the once that button is hit, then we advance the day. I actually omit this because I don't want to clear the current route. Begin the animation, and then store the week announcement or pop up as an event after the animation completes. So then we add some stuff to the render loop where we're actually rendering this new day animation. And yeah, in events, we add some logic in events to reset those event visits. And then we work on the animation layout a little bit, the selection of the weekly creature names. Gives me some nice structures for just picking one at random. And what's nice is I actually gave it, sometimes the AI is really stupid, but here I gave it plural names: peasants, archers, pikemen, swordsmen, cavaliers. Every single one of these values is plural, but the week of the elves isn't what the game says. The week of the elf is what the game would say, and this got it right. This switched from plural to singular. So good job, AI. You're not a complete loser. You're not completely grammatically challenged in English, at least. I can imagine in more obscure languages it could bungle it, but got it right. So new day CPP, we add these projects, we make some patches to the events in the game main. I had some issues. What were my issues here? Oh yeah, it was loading stuff funny. So it wasn't loading. I basically didn't, if you look at the files I dropped in up here, I didn't drop in resources, I don't think, resources.cpp, which that's my file that loads the sprites from the AGG file. And since I didn't do that, it went ahead and wrote its own function to do it. Like it's like every time it's always trying to like write some function to decode these images. So I was like, all right. So I let it continue, and then I said, hey, can we integrate New Day with resources to process the image files we need instead of processing the images here also? Because in this one, we were adding hourglass. This is a new ICN file. We were adding this hourglass information, or this hourglass animation. The BR crest animation was also being added. So it was creating entirely new functions to import these. And it's just like, why would you do that? Well, it wanted to solve the problem, and it just did the kind of most expedient way of doing that, but it's really bad. And this is why like vibe coding destroys people, is because it'll create like the same function 20 different times to read an ICN file and extract these. In this case, they're PNG, but I think the actual internal game memory uses BMP. So, but anyway, I caught it on that and said, hey, why don't we just load it all in the resources file? Because that's kind of where it belongs. So it suggested some patches. I think the patches were for the resource. Yep, so it told me to patch some stuff in resources CPP. I had also updated it to load all 30 sand frames instead of just 10 from the hourglass. And then recommended changing something in the, this was for the showing the moon phase, because what was happening is I had initially also made that mistake and said the top 2/3 of the that mini summary panel is the sun or the moon, depending on what's happening. And initially I thought it was animated, and I don't know why I remembered it being animated, but it doesn't seem to be. So so I just like misremembered that. And so as a result, I like misspecified that, and I had to correct what was happening there. So the correct display is just the hourglass and the crest, and then the only weird change with like the sun and the moon is that the first day of a new week displays the phase of the moon. So hero screen, we had this ND res, this resource variables removed, and we still had one hidden reference, and I think I got a bug because I didn't save the file even though I was making changes. There was something going on there, or maybe it was this. It was actually just this. So yeah, that's what it was. It was actually an ND res unload. So it was trying to, I had removed this, but it was still trying to unload it from memory. So that was the weird compiler error. So this is like what we're seeing in the original game. That's what we want to see. This is just the border frame because I forgot to specify the border frame initially. So I wanted to add that in. And then I wanted to specify like, hey, there's these 30 frames of animation. Why aren't they being shown? It studied, came up with how to use the 30 frames of animation. And then this was so close. Basically, the stone backing disappeared from the background. The animation of the hourglass is still not working. You probably have the rendering layers mixed up is what I thought. Stone back should be at the background, and then the hourglass frame structure, then the hourglass frame animations should be rendering on top of that. See this spec. We're close. Let's get this finished. You know, that's my encouraging language to coax the AI to doing my requests. It was filling with a gray, like a default color instead of gray. And so we just passed in the stone back value from resources, and that fixed it. We centered this in the panel. We tried to add these different frames, and it kind of worked, but there was one more quirk. And then we got the color crests. We kind of worked on centering those a little bit. Or I kept requesting that it center them, and it never quite got it right. So there was some weird bug, but I don't remember exactly what I did to fix it. I think I had to just add a reference to the stone back. And then this is again, the correct version from the game, I think. Oh, nope. Actually, that's just me showing it. But let me pull up the build from this and show you what that looked like. Oh, that's because I'm clicking the wrong file here. So this is slightly off center, but it's pretty close. And it's not playing the music, so it didn't find the music. But the animation is working correctly. And there was... so this is now looking reasonably centered, at least in this frame here. But the animation for the hourglass was happening behind this. So I could kind of see a little bit of noise behind this, and I just had to push the animation of the hourglass over. And here we got to week 2, and it's showing the moon phase. So that's the correct behavior. So yeah, currently the music is not working, and I wonder if we can see why that is. So let me just see what else I did here. Yeah, I omitted the fix to the movement routing, but then I wanted some data for the markdown files for render UI. You know, just some other notes about new day, like a markdown document, just so I could document this for if I wanted ever remember what the heck I did, or give it to the AI for some context to make some modifications. But yeah, the sound isn't working, and I think I remember it working, but I must have not done that right. And it's also, again, this is not quite centered anymore, and it's actually, if I'm really critical, it's actually leaking out a little bit into the into this other area. I just want to have a quick look at what the game shows for that. Let's just do a quick comparison and see how badly have I bungled this. Okay, so it is like sized appropriately somehow. Yeah, that is much more centered. So there's still a little bit of work on trying to get that centered, and it, to me, it looks almost like it's I'm just noting like the middle of this goes to about this scroll, from this scroll to this scroll, and that filigree. Let's just have one more check of what our layout. So our layout's a little low, for one. Okay. So this, maybe the whole box is slightly low. But even so, this shouldn't... Maybe there's a way to stretch that or shrink that, or maybe I've had this issue before where it's actually getting stretched across that. So I should look and see if that's getting stretched. That's a possibility. So we still have a couple bugs, but for the most part, this is working. Let's just go test something here. Let's pick up the... Okay. We got some mercury. In our kingdom summary, we now have a mine here. And let's see, do we get some more mercury? We picked up 3 mercury. Do we now have 4? Yes, we have 4 mercury now. So that's working. We have 4,000 gold on day 4. That's also correct. So it's looking okay. We are still missing the sound. We're still missing the sound as well for the new day. Okay, so yeah, that sound is missing. That's really strange. I want to check if I have that in the build directory. Heroes 49, yep. And is that... Yeah, that is the correct music, I think. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know why that's not working, but I'll have to take a look at that. We're very close. This is great progress on the new day. We just have possibly a sprite stretching bug here that's causing this to get a little pushed around, and the music isn't playing, but everything else seems to be functional there. At least the stuff that we can make functional. And next step is to start building creature dwellings in the castle. So like you'll click on the castle, it'll bring up the buy screen, and then you can see what's been built, what hasn't been built, and you know, it allows you to purchase those structures. And then also I want to be able to like click on the well, click on the thieves, like basically just create the screens for buying creatures for each of these structures. Once we have that and we're able to fill out the garrison and able to move creatures between the garrison and the hero, then we're probably getting to the point where we need to sit down and do battles. And so then I'll have to do the collision detection for monsters and have that go to the battle screen and start processing all of that. That's going to be a pretty major piece, but we're getting close, and we're about ready to start. So I looked into what was causing this bug of the the new day animation being off-centered, and I discovered that my this hero info rectangle is what this is called in my code. This was actually being stretched from 74 pixels to 87. So in the documentation, I need to update that. I also previously updated it in the code, and I was just testing it. And now this looks like it's much more centered than it was before. I still don't quite know if maybe this image needs to be stretched across these across the box area inside there. I'll have to double check that. There is a way to stretch those. Now I'm just going to check if the moon is working correctly here. So 2 more new days. And we didn't get the announcement either. So we didn't actually get the new day, the new week announcement. So that's a little bit. Well, I'll have to look into why that's happening. But at least I fixed this this bug here, and then also when you pick up items, this is now centered better because it was getting stretched a little bit off screen, and so now the resource pickup is slightly improved on the flash, and yeah, see, that looks right again. Now let's just see what happens after. Oh, no, you can still move. You just have to click. And everything was credited correctly to our treasury, so that all looks good. So we're still not getting the this is the week of the condor or whatever announcements. So, oh, I think the condor is actually one of those creatures too, isn't it? Yeah, I need to add that to the list. So, yeah, but aside from not getting the new week announcement, you know, the new day functionality is looking pretty good. So I started looking into why the new week announcement wasn't working. You know, at the end of the week, it should say this is the week of the condor, and basically what was happening, at least the first thing the game thought, or the AI thought, was that one of the mouse clicks was being stored up, or that you were clicking during if you would click during this new turn. Which, by the way, I got the music working. But if you click during this, that would automatically click through any announcement. So I implemented the changes it suggested, and still did not appear. Took another look, and then now it starts to see, oh gosh, this game has none of your new day patches applied, nothing. That's always a bad sign. That means your chat session is getting long in the tooth, and it's time to clear the context and get a new one. So anytime I see that now, I just hit stop immediately. I just stop whatever it's doing, because it's gonna just burn tokens doing something stupid when it suddenly can't see any of the changes that both it and you have made prior to this point. So I said, here's the current, take a look at that. It says, oh yeah, good, everything's there. Like, I don't know why the AI loses its ability to see, but it's just a sign that you have too much context and it's getting overwhelmed. So let me read the exact pop-up block, blah blah blah. Now it's happening where it's calling this event system twice. It's redundant. Okay, great. Nope, actually, so it keeps finding stuff, thinking it's found it. The logic is all correct, blah blah blah. Logic is all sound, blah blah blah. And then here's where it actually finds the real bug. So we clear this new day state once basically at the end of the week. and that wipes the new week pop-up pending information. So what we do is we save off, we preserve the previous week's announcement information, or I guess it's not from the previous week, it's for this week, but before clearing the new day state, we save what was generated in advance of this new day so that it starts with this new day information. So we store it, we restore the new day state, then we put these values back in. So it's like we're saving them, wiping the state, and then replacing them. Now, I suppose alternatively, as a method, you could just, every time you create the new day state, you could regenerate this, but I'll have to think about that. That might be smarter, and this might be some weird quirk that has been inserted from the from basically the vibe coding aspect of this. So maybe that is an architectural mistake, that I'm generating the announcement for the next week, then deleting it, and then repopulating it. Why don't I just generate it after? So right now I think it's working, and as I said, that fixed the bug. The only difference is I wanted to say okay instead of yes for the button, and I think that I have fixed it here to say okay. Let's see what it does here. Okay, this was day 7, so do we get the announcement? Yes. And this purple box thing, maybe that's another bug I need to remove. I'm gonna look into that as well and see if because that's on a lot of stuff, but it's not here when I do this. So maybe, the purple box is here, so I just need to look at, maybe somehow it's vibe coded in that the background is always purple instead of just being transparent. So I'm going to see if I can fix that bug too. So anyway, that did fix the bug. It gave me the instructions to do this, because previously it had just said event button ID yes, and so I just had to change this line to okay, and that fixed, yeah, just basically doing this. So it's encoded the system ICN frames into this nice library for me. So that's easy. But now I had to chase down the sound. So currently the sound is playing, and this is the right sound to be playing, and that's all great. But it was failing silently. So where can I check this? I want to check the file name. The terrain sound is being muted correctly, so the terrain sound doesn't play here, but you'll notice that the ambient sound does. So maybe I need to mute the ambient sound as well. And so it starts going down all sorts of weird tracks, and it's like, oh, just load it, just make sure you're loading it correctly. And I'm like, no, that's dumb. I know the file's there. I was just expecting a typo. Can we load it using sound.h? Because I don't know why it was being loaded separately in New Day, and then it says, oh yeah, loaded in resources, and I'm like, it is being loaded in resources currently instead of in sound.h. Let's put it in sound.h. So this is one of those things where, like, the people that hate vibe coding, they could make fun of me for this. Like, I get it. Like, this is where, like, why did the AI just randomly insert the sound into resources instead of sound.h? Well, it did that because it was creating the new, like, sun moon images. It was creating some of these new hourglass images. It was loading those resources from the AGG file into like, those are graphic images. It was loading those, and it just slapped in the sound file as well to load for this feature. And I'm glad I caught this and was able to move it to the correct location in sound.h. But I have a feeling at some point soon, in order to sort of clean up the vibe code nature of this, I'm going to have to go back and search through these files and be like, hey, is this importing ICN files randomly into this library when it doesn't need to be? Shouldn't this be loaded in resources.cpp, which is where I'm loading all of my sprites? Oh, this sound, shouldn't all the sounds be in sound.h? That seems, that would make more sense. And so just kind of go through and make sure that the AI didn't just plop things in. Like, they still compile, but it's just not organized well enough that either the AI context doesn't find it, or the human that's reading it, the comprehension that the human that's reading it doesn't see where that file is located. So anyway, I chased down all this stuff, and it thought, oh, maybe channel 4 isn't disabled, and or maybe channel 4 is disabled or isn't enabled somehow, or you've got some other music allocated for that. So it looked through all of this stuff, and I had a number of back and forth with the AI on this. And then it finally gave me something that did work. But let's see, I still ran into some declaration that was legacy from something else, so I had to get rid of this. It was still trying to play this New Day Resources audio, which I had removed and moved into sound.h. And then I said, here, just take a look at all my other code. It goes through everything. Oh, found it. Now I see the real issue. There it is. Channel 4 is free value. So it keeps thinking it found it, and it doesn't. and then it's like, just take a look and dump if this is, print it to the terminal if this file is actually loaded. Like, is the search method even working? And so, yeah, I think that's dumb, because it doesn't like the standard, like, C out, C error thing, because I didn't import the standard IO header. And I was like, I shouldn't have to do that. I'm like, this is dumb. Just stop that. So it says, okay, put it in the SDL log. Okay, that's fine. So I do that. Then I tested different file locations. I put it in the directory above, in the sound directory. I put it in the same directory as the executable. Didn't find it. Okay, so that tells me something's going wrong. And I said, well, here's the look at sound.h, and why is terrain music, which has the exact same file path, same file names, just a different number, why is that one working and New Day music is not working? And then it finds a difference. It's a subtle difference, but it basically copies the method from what terrain music was doing, and then it works. So again, foiled by vibe coding, the AI wrote an entirely new method for pulling in the New Day music, instead of just copying the method that worked for terrain music. So again, it just, it made some slightly different change to the code, and that was just enough to break it or to cause it to silently fail, which is what was really happening here. It wasn't finding the file, so it was it just wasn't playing. And yeah, but now it's fixed. The New Day is functioning about how it should, except I still hear this the windmill. We were hearing these ambient sounds during the opponent's turn music, and so now we're not. We're still hearing a little bit of static, but I think that's an artifact of the music player as opposed to the actual noise from the music. And so what I did is I said we should also just disable the ambient sound engine. That should just be a few lines of code, right? And it said, yep, it's add this ambient sound pause when we're beginning the New Day animation, and add the ambient sound resume all when we end. Okay, well, the problem is those aren't declared. So maybe we should pass them in, and it said, yep, let's do that. So we pass them in this way, basically just adding this, let's see, adding the ambient sound engine into each of these calls. So we're adding that in at the end, and then from passing that in, we literally pass it in from resources. So once we do that, it fixed everything. So we just passed it in, gave it the addresses of where that was located in memory, and then it could just call, pause, or resume. And then we don't get this ambient sound. We don't hear the windmill sound here. So now the only thing remaining is just if your hero has still movement points to spend, it should give you a warning before you hit the end of turn screen. And we have to do creature stuff, but the general aesthetics and function of the new day is now complete for what we can kind of do with this phase. Once I build the creature structures inside the castle, and once we have the hero movement stopping at the end of the day, then I think it would be good to just finalize those 2 points at this new day logic. But it's looking pretty good. So the purple message box stuff was bothering me, and I ran through some stuff with the AI. On most screens, there's a purple box background, like basically I'm applying an extra one. Is there a way to make that transparent in the code somewhere? And yes, basically I started searching for this SDL set render draw color and set this alpha to 0. It's red, green, blue, alpha, set that to 0. So I set that to 0 in a number of areas in my events CPP. I also went and looked at my various kingdom screens and hero screens and found areas where this alpha was set. There were other ones where it was drawing a fallback box where it didn't need it. So I just asked to double check. I can set the alpha to 0 instead of 200 or whatever, and it should just show the background color. And I can do that on hero screen and castle screen too. And it says, yep. And then this says you need to enable the blend mode if you're going to do that. So if I find any more, I need to make sure I add this blend mode ahead of setting this to 0. If I don't send this, or if I don't set this variable, then the 0 would be ignored. This alpha, setting alpha to 0 would be ignored. So I could also potentially just delete those boxes in some instances. So I may end up doing that, going back through the code and cleaning that out. But let me just show you kind of what this ended up doing. This looks so much better. And before I had this weird purple box that was, related to that. If we go to our kingdom overview, before I had this weird purple box over this. I also adjusted the kingdom overview because this was actually being stretched over, so I pulled this back over. And all I had to do for this was to, let's see, I made one change where I was stretching this over main background image was being stretched. And that was stretching this part. But now that I did this, it's correct, and this looks pretty close to the screen that I want. I think the one thing I don't like is that this 1 is not centered in that castle bar. So that's the one thing I don't like right now about the kingdom overview. On the hero screen, we're looking good. This is correct. Let's just run around and pick up a few things. If we look at the castle name bar also doesn't have any issue. Picking up the items doesn't give us any trouble. Alchemist, no trouble. Obelisk, no trouble. Gazebo looks so much better. Level up screen looks so much better. So it was a good bug to chase down to get rid of that purple screen that was inserted as like a default fallback. But now I've gotten rid of that, so I'm very, very pleased with the results here. And fixed the stretching on the kingdom screen as well.